Welcome to the live. How's it going? It's Marshall. Thanks for tuning in here. I am super late, guys. I'm so sorry. This is supposed to be Sunday night, but technically it's Monday morning because it's 12:27 in the AM here. So anyways, hope you guys are all having a good time. Hope you had a good weekend. Super Booth was pretty sweet. I watched all kinds of videos and what's been going on there. Obviously did some videos on there. This year I'm gonna try and make it out to KnobCon. That's a big synthesizer festival that's out in Chicago. And Suit and Tie Guy actually hit me up on Facebook, I don't know, probably a week or two ago. And so we've kind of been chatting a little bit. And super cool guy, and I think I can make the trip out there, so that's pretty cool. So if I do, I will definitely be making some videos about all that goodness. So yeah, so this is my live show. Basically, I'm just streaming live from my studio here, and it's usually long form, so not really any editing. And yeah, if that's not your thing, then be sure to check out the channel for some other content. But anyways, yeah, so where we left off last week was working on this Ableton project here, and this is coming along. I think there's a couple things that I want to work on here this evening in this tune. Specifically, I kind of want to I don't know yet, actually. I think there's like a breakdown in here that I want to kind of extend a little bit and just see what that sounds like. And we'll kind of go from there. Probably bounce some of these plugins out into audio so that hopefully it cuts down on some of the latency. And yeah, so let's check it out. So got my trusty push here. And let's see if we can find that spot. So this track doesn't have a name, so if you guys have any suggestions for names, let me know what you think. But let's see, I think it's here. Hopefully this isn't too loud in the background. So to change this up, I need to actually move this down a full measure here. And yeah, so this is coming from the Access virus, and I have this whole elaborate setup for the virus. I'll probably end up doing a separate video just talking about how to integrate the total integration aspect of the virus into Ableton. Yeah, it's pretty sweet. So I've got all my analog outs routed into this guy. This is a Yamaha Mixer. Also, interesting thing about this mixer is that this is kind of an older one, but they're fairly inexpensive now. The newer version of this is like, I don't know, $2,500. So this it has USB connectivity, but the connectivity is actually used just to control the motorized faders. But to get audio routed into the PC, I'm having to use an RME Digiface, I think is what it's called. I can't remember. But basically it takes ADAT and hooks it into ADAT, which then goes to USB, which then connects to my main machine, and then that's what integrates with Ableton. So it's a nice kind of workaround to get one of these older style mixers working on a modern computer. It's pretty sweet. Yo, Mr. Cow Food, I see you in the chat, man. How you doing? So anyway, I'll probably do a video about that. And then the other thing is, because this thing is ancient technology, the controls here are a little strange, actually. If we go in here, I should have set this up earlier, but man, it's having computer problems getting the stream going. But yeah, let me just go through and set this up. And then I'll synchronize from the console to the computer. And let's see. So yeah, there it goes. So now if we go back to here, I'm going to move some sliders on the computer. And you can see, whoa, mama, it's doing work. It's doing work. That's pretty freaking awesome, actually. So just controlling this from here. But anyway, that's all USB is used for on this mixer. It doesn't actually pass any audio, so it's kind of a pain in the ass. But, you know, this has so many features in it that I think it's definitely still a workhorse and get some life out of it. Yep, and then here it is. Here's the DigiFace interface thingy here. So like if I play, got some ADAT routings. That's the Slim Fatty there. I think this is Ableton. This is the Nord Wave over here. So you can see it's basically just the ADAT channels assigned up here for the inputs. Correlate to what I got going on up in this area over here. So yeah. Hey Cowfood, man, what do you think of all the Behringer goodness that is coming our way this year? I'm pretty excited about all that. You know what? Actually, you're an SH101 guy, and you have the SH01A, I believe. What did you think of the MS101? Did that have any? Did that make you get goosebumps, or how are you feeling about that one? I'm just kind of curious to see what you think, since you have an SH01A. I think you've owned an SH101 before. For me, I don't really have a good frame of reference personally, so I don't know for sure. But anyways, love to hear what you think about that. Nailing it. Okay. Yeah, I think they're doing really cool shit. Oh, if you guys watched, I don't know how many people watched that video I did with the clone of myself. If you watch to the end where the end credits come in, I put my clone in the end a little bit. So, I don't know. It's kind of funny. Check it out if you haven't already. Alright, so anyway, let me get back to... Oh, I just hit Control Z. Let's go to Control R. What's the hotkey for redo? Oh, Control Y. Alright. Can I just scooch that? Ah, that's such a pain. So we've got to scoot. Ah, this sucks. Oh man, I'm gonna mess this all up. There we go. Alright, there we go. That worked. I gotta move this automation over for the I don't know what you call this, like the transition sound from the virus. We'll scooch it this way. Oh, did I go too far? Oh man, I think I did. Now we gotta do that again here. Come on. Not too good at using the automation stuff in Ableton still. how did it grab all of it before? Yeah, they didn't have super great audio at the synth booth for some of those Behringer synths. I think, especially like the 808, I don't think they wanted people to get really high quality audio on that thing because they're still working on it. Yeah, I mean, they let people hook right up to the MS and do work. All right, let's see if that worked here. Something's still screwed up. Yeah, I agree with you there, Cow Food. If they hit that price point, right in that 300, 350 sweet spot for the way that thing looks, if it sounds anywhere close to 101, it's going to be a big seller. Yeah, I forgot I got my mod wheel. I got to adjust on here too. Got to scooch that over. Like that. Let's see what that does. Yeah, we'll see how they come out. Pretty promising though. Back and look at one of these other ones. Yeah, definitely not. Especially, since you already have the 018. I still need to get that one. Still missing that one in the Juno 106 from the boutique line. Duplicate that sucker. Now let's just start over on this. Oh no, you're good there, Cow Food. I can walk and chew gum. I don't know if my clone can, my Behringer clone of myself, but I can. All right, let's see. All right, let's start by extending this. Yeah, Cow Food, we probably need to just get you back on the channel, man, and do a synth talk. Maybe I can get Suit and Tie Guy on for that too. I think that'd be pretty cool having him on. This stupid thing. Let me just... I'm not good at automation in Ableton because it does stupid shit like this all the time. But it's probably operator error. Oh my god. Let me look at the other one again. Yeah, see, so, alright. Am I in different zoom settings here? Yeah. That's looking a little more like it here. Fuck. Oh my god, it keeps adding new little dots every time I click on this one. Trying to pull it over here. No, I don't want to make a new one. There we go. Now we're giving it the business. Jesus. Alright, let's see. And it doesn't have to be perfect. A little bit of variation and all this is fine with me. Of course I didn't move it in my two measures. Yay! Fail. There we go. All right, that should do the trick. Yeah, sometimes I can't count cow food. My two bars sometimes get a little short. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to save this as a revision because I don't know if I want to keep that. Well, I guess it doesn't matter because I could just copy an old one. But just in case, we'll do a save as. 25. Alright, so what else did I want to do here? I think I just need to go through and kind of start rendering some of these clips with plugins like this massive one. This is another massive one, the sound canvas. Let's start with the sound canvases. Normally what I'll do is I'll freeze. Actually, does it matter in this case? I don't think so. So because I have these grouped, I should just be able to flatten these, or freeze them and flatten them. Offline rendering or freeze tests. Track's not supported. Okay, but that's not a virus track. That might be an issue actually with the virus, but we'll see. I don't think I'm using the USB audio from that, so hopefully that's not an issue. So I'll go through these. I want to keep, I don't know, this is always like one of the issues, is like I should go through and do a rendering of every single instrument, because if at one point in the future I sell something and I don't have it and I ever want to come back to this, at least I'll have the actual audio from the unit. So I should probably do it for everything. But for tonight, I'm just going to do the plugins. And then I'll do a version save with the freezes, or I should say the audio. So we'll flatten that. Flatten that sucker. Now let's just make sure these are working. So that's good. Alright, let's we'll do Omnisphere next, because that one can get a little CPU hungry. That was another cool thing at Superbooth, was the free upgrade Omnisphere 2.5. I'm gonna love that, I'm pretty sure. And actually the public beta should start today, I think. Well, it's Monday. So tomorrow, after I get done with work, I'll probably see if I can download it. I don't know. Should I do the beta? Well, I guess worst case, I could always roll back. Not rename. What am I doing? Freeze. I could always roll back to just version 2. The only thing is, like, sometimes I've upgraded plugins and like it screws stuff up either with whatever preset. If I'm using just a preset, sometimes the presets are different and maybe they removed one. Definitely ran into that with some of the Arturia stuff. So sometimes I don't want to upgrade, but because of the feature set that they've added, I kind of want to try it. Flatten. There we go. And we should see this, hopefully, CPU meter start kind of creeping back down to a normal spot here pretty soon. So this one, since it's not grouped, what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate it. I'm going to do the one that I just duplicated. I'm going to delete my effects chain because I don't want to freeze with the effects on. So we will freeze this one. And I just copy it as, just in case my copy for some reason didn't work, I still have this one. I can go back and take the effects chain off and repaste it once the audio is done flattening. See, like it's not letting me do it. So we'll go back to this one. We'll copy and then we'll paste right here. There we go. And then we can delete this one. Looks like I'm only using that one freaking spot. That's starting to break down anyway. So, alright. Same deal with this. What is this? What sound is that? Oh, okay, so that's the other generic baseline. So we'll do the same thing. So renders will include trails if you extend them beyond, you know, the stopping point, if that makes sense. But the way I tend to do my trails is I use the effects to create that. So that it doesn't become an issue. If I worked in a more conventional way, in terms of if I used Ableton more in arrangement mode, it probably wouldn't be an issue at all because you would have a sequence that runs linear, you know, lengthwise, versus I do basically scenes of clips. So for me, it's a little bit, it can be a pain in the ass, but sometimes what I have to do is if I definitely need a tail that's being created by a synthesizer that's got effects on it, then what I have to do is I'll create a sample of that section and then I'll put it into something that can just trigger that sound, like what is it, the drum thing, the drum rack, and I'll just trigger that sound when I need it if I have to do it that way. So that's kind of ways I've gotten around it, because then the sample, even once it's triggered, it'll just play through, and when you move to the next scene it should have the tail there too. So that's what I do anyway. Yeah, I don't, like, for some reason I prefer to work in Ableton this way. When I was using Pro Tools all the time, obviously I didn't have this, but I've gotten so used to this that even now when I go back to Pro Tools, I'm like, what did I do here? So, but Ableton 10 is really cool, being able to put groups. I mean, I think you could just do an infinite number of groups if you wanted to, but you're just, obviously, that's what I did with all this TI2 stuff for the virus, is I made just like sections of groups for different things, like including all the MIDI channels and everything. I think I have a method to the madness, but we'll see. Ask me in like 6 months when I come back to this project if I can open it up and tell where everything is. I'm sure I can, but alright, so that should be good. So we'll flatten that sucker. So that one's got an arpeggiator that was triggering in quarter notes. And we got to paste our effects chain back on here. This was going to do a little bit of EQ, sidechain, and compression. So that should still all be there. Let's just solo it and make sure. Yep. So if we shut our sidechain off, so there we go. So we can delete that one. So for the hardware instruments right now, I'm going to leave them be because I want a version where all the actual hardware, like the wave, which is this bass line, kind of like the FM sound and bass line, will still play live off an instrument. So what am I doing? I don't want to do that. I want to go in here, and I think I'll leave my some of these. This is the TR-08, or sorry, 09. So we'll leave that one. This hi-hat is a sample, if I remember. Or no, sorry. That one is for the TR-08. So here's our other percussion sounds that are samples. These I should do my whole freeze and flatten, because if anything happened to my sample libraries, I'd be screwed also. So let's see, what do I have? So that's a sample. That's a sample. Is there multiple claps? There's 2 claps in here. Okay. And then this one, and then this one. So this crash has some effects, so I'm going to do my duplicate and freeze track. Yeah, it's definitely a lot easier because you tend to work with a lot of loops anyways in this kind of music. And it's actually kind of how I started writing music when I first got into it using trackers. This reminds me of setting up a section in a tracker, and you can either have that loop over and over, or tell it at the end of a certain number of loops, go to the next series in the tracker, so to speak, or the next clip. Basically, it's the same kind of concept. And I did that for a long time. So yeah, it's kind of. Oh, did I just do that with the stupid effects on it? Let me unfreeze that. I just saw that. I don't want to freeze it with the effects on. I want it to be dry, and then use the Ableton effects after it's flattened. And then normally what I'll do is, once I get everything converted so that I'm not relying on MIDI sequencing, I've just got audio for everything, is I'll go back and I'll do another mix. Like, I'll go through the mix one more time, make sure everything's balanced, start listening to it on every stereo system I have, and make sure it sounds good, then compare it to other professionally done tracks. And if I need to come back in and make adjustments again, I can. There's one thing I always have a problem with, is that I will either get way too much bass in on a track, or like not enough. So, and it's hard to tell sometimes. Like, even in here now, I've got a sub in the studio, which helps a lot actually. You play a reference track on that, and it can kind of, you can make sure that you're filling out that bottom end the same as a professionally done track. But then I'll take it in the car and do some comparisons in the car. Actually, I might be kind of screwed on that now, because I got a different car, and the stereo in there is not as, it's a little underwhelming compared to what I had. So I don't know. I might have to find something else to play tracks on. But and then I've got a PA that I can do some stuff on too. So good variety. And then I always play on my phone. Make sure I got the, like, phones are like, most of them are mono, and obviously they're real kind of tinny. So if you can hear all of the different sounds that you need to hear through your mono speaker on your cell phone, like, you're pretty good there. And then if you play on like something that's got a decent sub, and your bass is filled out, then you're got a pretty decent mix. Oh, so Henrik, how's it going, man? Yeah, thanks for the question. So basically, Reason, I am just using an NNXT, and I'm using the impacts from the factory sound bank to get like a reverse like swoosh sound, and then kind of some impact sounds. I'll kind of show that here in a second, because actually we're gonna convert this so that I don't have to keep using rewire. But yeah, this is Reason 8, I think. 8.3, so I haven't upgraded. I don't know if I will. I mean, I don't use Reason as often anymore. In fact, this is probably the first time I've used it in something in like 2 years. But when I was working on this song, I remembered these impact type sounds from Reason. Was like, that would kind of go nice in this song. So I just went and dug them up, and yeah, it's working out pretty good, I think. All right, so crashes. Okay, so let's make sure we got those. Okay, that should be good. Hi-hat 1. So I don't have any other processing on this, so I should just be able to freeze and flatten this one. Yeah, that's pretty much my MO there, Cow Food. 3 different mix tests. And almost every time I have to go back, I'll think it sounds great in here, and I'm good to go, and then I'll go and I'll test it on a couple different systems, and I'm like, yeah, it needs work still. I think on an average production that I work on, it's between 7 and 10 different versions of the song before I get everything where it needs to be. And I'm talking like from start to finish, like starting from a blank canvas and working through. And when I save a rev change, like what I just did, that kind of thing, or different bounce renderings of the entire track, I guess that's probably a better way to put it. It's about between 7 and 10, and usually I get around 6, and I think I'm getting close to being done. And then a lot of the extra work is doing stuff with transitions, or having to come back and trying to balance out the mix again because I put too much bass or not enough bass, or like the mids are not where they need to be, or there's some sound that needs to be brought up or brought down. I mean, that's kind of how it goes. But trying to get a balanced mix that's the hard stuff. All right, so we're about done with my samples. I just got a couple of claps to do now. And then we'll go and we'll check out those Reason sounds for you, Henrik, and give you an idea of what I'm working with on that. That's already frozen. Where was I? I just confused myself. Is that already frozen? Was I doing hi-hats? What's this one? Let's crash. Hi-hat. For some reason I thought there was something else in there. Alright, whatever. Claps. Oh, this must have been the one that I just did. Flatten. Yeah, Reason was a stepping stone for me. I used it a lot from like 2003 until about 2006/7. But I've always kind of had it there. And when I got into using Pro Tools, I still used Reason as a drum machine through Rewire, kind of like what I'm doing here. And I've continued to use it that way because sometimes I like the way Reason does something, and with being able to route stuff. Like I just kind of know I'm going to get a certain sound, and so sometimes I kind of use it for that kind of stuff still. So it's still a useful tool, but I don't produce entire tracks in it anymore. And these, I'm a little concerned. Actually, we could just freeze them. But Ableton is pretty sweet. I like the flexibility of Ableton, and some of the things you can do with like Max for Live and some of those tools, like kind of takes it to a whole other level. Like, so it can be a lot more than just a DAW. Like you can do visual effects. You can I did a bunch of stuff because I was trying to like figure out how to get visualizations to go in sequence with an audio source, and you can do some really crazy stuff. And I might revisit that. We'll see at some point, but it's a lot of fun doing that stuff. Claps 2, snare. All right, we'll do this one. No, waiting. There we go. Flatten. And these other impacts, yeah, we'll go ahead and... This has a lot of processing on it. So we'll do a duplicate. Oh, I got a bunch of shit in here. I just got lost again. Impact, that's what I wanted. All that for that little sound. Yeah, there is a large library, as Calf was saying, of all kinds of stuff for Max for Live. Like in some of the technical comparison videos I've done on this channel, I'm using a Max for Live oscilloscope that somebody made, you know, and there's all kinds of stuff. I at one point I was like, oh, let me try and make stuff in Live, and it's not super complicated, but it uses like little modules that you kind of set around, and then you can wire them up. It's kind of like how, I don't know if anyone's used Fruity Loops, but how you can like group stuff and then do all this weird routing with things, and you got like these little visual modules. My brain doesn't work too good with those for some reason, so I kind of have a hard time with that. If it's actual like language, like C# or something like that, yeah, I can get around that. But for some reason, use those little visual modules. My brain gets confused easy on those. And then if you get something real crazy, you'll have this like whole spaghetti. You know, this is probably why I don't like modular synthesizers too, by the way, because you get just a spaghetti of cables everywhere, and how do you freaking remember where you put what? I don't know. I can't, but some people can. All right, cool. So we got that. Let's check out the reason section. So I'm gonna solo this. So you can see we've got like, actually, let me pull up the piano roll for this. And just play. Because these, I always thought these were like really fancy, cool sounds. It's like, in a world where some dude tries to make music on the internet. Anyway, like Storm Drums has some really cool sounds that are like way more professional than this, but something about some of these are just kind of cool, I think, so I still use them every now and then. And if I go through, like, I've been kind of trying to pick through some really old stuff that I have that had potential, but I didn't know what I was doing well enough to really realize the full potential of what I was working on. If I go back through and pull some of those up, like, you'll probably see a lot of this kind of stuff in those tracks. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. Just a couple of, so we're going to use this one layered with this one, and then here's a little swoopy sound. It's like a reverse, like dealio. This is like vintage to me. These are so old, but I think it works for this tune. So sometimes, you know, for me, it's like, yep, what does it need? What can I do? Alright, so we'll flatten this one, or freeze and flatten. And then we can shut Reason off. So I don't know if that's actually my CPU percentage now, but it's down to like 6%, whereas before it was in the 50s. So just doing this is going to save a huge amount of processing power. So then I'm going to leave the live instruments, like again, like the Wave, the Virus, the Slim Fatty, the TR-09, TR-08, still being triggered through MIDI for now. But when I do the final mix, I'll probably print everything to audio, go and do all my final mixing for the release. So like when I put this out on my label, yeah, I'll have everything printed to audio and do a mix that way eventually. All right, so let's make sure that's all still what we want. So just adding like a little bit of reverb on that, you see how we get kind of those tails I was talking about? Because if we shut this off and we trigger that again, we get a little bit more of a dry sound here. I mean, I guess it kind of has a little bit of reverb on it already. But anyway, that's kind of the idea, and why I don't want to capture the effects on anything. Any of the audio, because sometimes you can manipulate things to carry over between scenes with just some reverb or delay or something like that. So the kick drum, I think we're good to print this out too. So this is the Kick 2 plugin. I love this plugin. It does such a great job of generating kicks. It's from Sonic Academy. It's a good plugin. It's not very expensive either. I want to say it was only like $50 or $60 when I bought it. Well, actually, that's probably a lie because I upgraded from Kick 1. So it might have been a $50 upgrade to Kick 2. Back in the day. So I have like a bunch of plugins, but the couple things I've been wanting to do plugin wise is I need to upgrade my Arturia V collection because mine's old and it's missing things like the synclavier. which I have a halfway finished remake of Michael Jackson's Beat It, which I really want to finish, but I need the synclavier from that. And I guess they added a DX7, which is gross, but maybe it's a little easier to use than the actual DX7. I have a DX7 back over here in the corner, and I'll pull it out one of these days. Blasphemy 808 kick. 808 kick's not gonna fit good in this track, man. Oh, here. Once this gets done, I'm gonna show you guys something. I found this the other day when I built a NAS to try and finally move some of my important data onto a central repository that's got some kind of redundancy built into it. And I found this. Where is it at? Oh, this right here. See if it'll load with this other stuff going. Hammerhead, guys. You guys remember Hammerhead? Did anyone use Hammerhead in here? This is like the poor man's 909 from when I very first started making music. So I would take these. This has got like 909 bass drum, sub, jungle, blip. Like it had like just really generic sounding drum sound, like sounds, and then you would sequence them here. But I was like, I don't want to use this stupid thing, so I would sequence one shots, export them as WAV files, and then import them into my MIDI tracker, and then I'd construct my songs using the one shots from Hammerhead. Oh, back in the day. I think that guy's website is still up too. That's a super old little bit of software I used to use. All right, so that we got that. Let's go flatten. All right, so we did the percussion other than the TR-08, TR-09. We're going to leave that one. We did that one. We did that one. We did these. We did those. Oh, the M1. Let's do the M1. The M1 sounds freaking amazing still. So, and again, because I've just got these in a group, we're just good to flatten or freeze and flatten. Hey, no worries, Henrik. Thanks for stopping by, man. That's really cool. You're in Sweden, huh? It's probably morning over there, so you probably gotta go to work. I have to go. I should be in bed right now. I have to be up for work in a couple of hours. But I want to try and at least get the stuff here flattened out, and then yeah, then I'll probably call it a night too. But yeah, cool, man. Sweden's awesome. Propellerhead is made in Sweden, I'm pretty sure, if I remember right. And a lot of cool synths from Nord, and obviously Electron. I think they're from Sweden. So lots of really cool music stuff that comes out of Sweden. Oh, so the X5. I don't know what that is. I'll have to check that out here in a second. We'll pull it up on the internet. I don't know what that looks like. But that's got the same sounds as the M1. Is it more conventional looking? Because the M1, that's like, the M1 looks like shit, I think. I mean, it's black, which is good, but it's got like no controls on it. It's all buttons. That's one of the things about the JD800 over here is it's kind of like a souped up D50. And it's got a lot of onboard controls, which is really sweet. Ah, yeah, so good. I thought they were in Sweden. I used to be in the forums on there all the time, and I would share my Reason songs with people, and yeah, they had a really cool community. They probably still, well, I know that they took the forums down because I went back there like a couple years ago, and I was like, I thought I saved. I was looking for an old song that I had produced that somehow got lost, to try and maybe rework it, or at least get inspiration from it, and they had deleted their forum. And I emailed them and was like, hey, you remember how you used to be able to save, because you used to be able to save certain Reason project files to your profile, which was pretty cool actually, but they deleted all that. And I was like, oh, do you guys still have that? I had a song on there I really kind of wanting to get if I could. And they were super nice. The guy went and took like a week and literally went back and tried to recover my song. I had two tracks posted on there, and he found one of the two. It just turned out that was not the one that I needed, but they were super nice guys over there. Why do I have? I probably can take. I don't need 2 Kickstarters on these instances of silence, so we're gonna get brave and plop that in there. All right, and this is. So this is another pluck kind of sound. And they're not playing it at the same time. But anyway, this is pretty subtle in here in this track, which is okay. So we'll freeze that one. Early 90s. So yeah, while that's doing that, let me pull up the X5 over here. Korg X5, give me some pictures. Here we go. Is this it? Oh, that's X5D. Yeah, that looks pretty sweet. I still got a bunch of buttons. Is this a downgrade from the N1? Would this be considered inferior to the M1? Hey Richie, how you doing, man? Thanks for stopping by. Just working on some music here and talking synthesizers and software and anything else that comes up over here. Yeah, that X5 is it? But that's it, right? The X5D, that's what you were talking about? This always was like, why do you put your pitch bend and modulation wheel above? I know it's cheaper probably because you don't have to extend the chassis anymore, but I don't know that I could play that correctly. I'd like hit my elbow on here or something, but I'm also very clumsy. Alright, so we got that instance of silence taken care of. This one, what's this one? This is the kazoo. I call this the kazoo sound. This was silent? Oh yeah, that's right. It was. Yeah, it is silent. I was letting my girlfriend hear this track when I started working on it, and she was like, "It's like a superhero that's like not a good superhero." Like, and this is his bullshit superhero song. So I was like, okay, sure. Oh, thanks, Richie. That clone intro was fun to make, man. I was just sitting here going, I have this green screen. Why don't I like pretend that I'm a clone, or like Behringer cloned me? So I just went online and I printed out one of their logos and then just cut it out and taped it on my hat. And I recorded like a voice on my phone, like a memo of like, here's what I'm going to say. And I tried to put pauses in there. And so I'm wearing that stupid little Bluetooth thing in my ear, trying to listen to that for the timing. I think it turned out pretty good. Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. Oh, the X5DR. Let's see what that looks like. X5DR. That looks cooler to me. Yeah. That looks like a sound canvas. But a Korg. I wonder how much those are. Were those general MIDI? Or were they actual, I dare say, synthesizer, or they were like more romplers? Alright, and then the virus, will leave that triggering live. So look at this. So the virus TI2, this whole thing that I made, starts here, and it goes all the way over here. Because I put all 16 MIDI parts in here, all of the USB MIDI. So there we go. Yeah, and I can do stuff like collapse all the MIDI if I want to. Left, right. This is the third set of outputs, left, right. This is 1 and 2. Here's the USB, and here is the plug-in over here. Yeah, so I think I did good. I think I haven't gotten too lost in this yet. So yeah, that should be it. Let's hear how this sounds. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna save this as a revision. So I'll do a file, save as, and I don't know. Knowledge 34. That was supposed to be 4, but now it's 34, so we'll just leave it there. And we'll put no plugins. Okay. Hey, I might want to pick one of those up then. The problem is I don't have a lot of room in here for actual like keyboard synthesizers. Well, half my shit's in another room now, so I guess technically I could put more stuff in here, but I get it. I have some rack space now actually because I moved into some stuff into a separate rack. So maybe, yeah, I'm thinking a rack version of that would be pretty sweet. Alright, so what I do now, I'm going to go over here. This is the arrangement view because I've recorded a sequence of everything, but I'm going to do a Control A and delete. And we'll tab back into here, and I'm going to play through while I record these steps. So the Korg M1 is multi-timbral. I don't know about the DX or the D5. What is it? The X5DR or the X5D. I don't know if that is. Is that multi-timbral, cow food? This is like, there's a video on the ADSR YouTube page you guys should check out. They did like this gear chat. I don't know if they're still doing it, but I thought it was pretty sweet. They talk about the M1 and how people were selling all their vintage analog gear and just using M1s to produce. We're just freaking insane. Why would you do that? But there was a time when people were not into analog. And they just wanted all the digital stuff, all the new digital stuff that came out. But yeah, that's a great gear chat video from ADSR. All right, so let's go back here. All right, so we'll make sure we're at the start. I'm gonna hit record, and let me switch to this one. So as soon as I hit record, it's going to trigger my first scene, and then I'm going to go through in order, and it will record everything in the arrangement view, and then we have a song, basically. Actually, this will give me an opportunity to listen to how that break is going to work now since I changed that too. 64 voice, 16 part multi. Holy shit. I just missed that. Okay, let me start that over. I totally like screwed up my sequence there. Because I was reading the stats for the X5D. That's pretty wild, actually. So, man, 64 voice, 16 part multi-timbral. That came out, what, 1988? Or the M1, I should say. Not the X5D, but I think that came out the year after the D50. That makes sense because it's a lot newer than the M1. this is that break that I extended like at the beginning of the stream. I don't know if I'm gonna like it or not this way, but this is our chance to hear it. I'm thinking this track might need a little bit of speak and read vocals in its life. Oh, you know what? This is a great opportunity. Maybe I should buy the, what was that? OP1. OP1, not OP1. The, pocket operator thingy that's got the voice synthesizer in it. What's that called? The Speak? I should buy one of those. Realize we're gonna run out of track here, so let's move that over. Suit and tie guy, what is up, man? I just screwed the ending up. That's all right. We got Suit and Tie Guy in the chat. Hey, I was just telling everybody I'm probably gonna buy tickets and come out to Chicago for KnobCon this year. So that's gonna be sweet, man. Tie Suit Guy. So yeah, Suit and Tie Guy. Meet Cow Food, Suit and Tie Guy. That's a great question. Yeah, did you go to Super Booth, Suit and Tie Guy? All right, I'm gonna resave this. Yeah, lots of cool stuff at Super Booth. There was all kinds of modular stuff too. I don't know anything about modular other than I have a Nord modular, micro modular, which isn't, I guess it's digital, you know, obviously, but that's about the only modular. Well, that's a lie because I have the MS-20 Mini too, but I've never hooked it up to anything else besides itself. That's true, because, man, for us to go to Super Booth or Music Messa or any of those over there in Europe, it's like real expensive to fly way over there. And I don't know how much stuff costs in those other countries, but like I think the euro still has a higher exchange rate than the dollar, and obviously the British pound does. So it means it's more expensive for us Americans. Yep. This is it. It's not plugged in, but it's sitting right on top of the Nord Wave. So yeah. Yeah, this thing was only like, let's say I spent $400 I think on this, and the sticker keeps wanting to come up off the back, but I did some testing and like this, I can get the software to work on Windows 10, and so I need to do some stuff because this thing's got like a really sick sounding vocoder, which is why I bought it actually. Oh yeah, I was looking at rates for KnobCon in the hotel because probably what I'll do is I don't think I can get anybody to go with me, so I would have to go by myself. But I would probably just fly in, take an Uber or a Lyft or something to the hotel, and just stay in that hotel where the KnobCon event is. Do I need to buy tickets for that? Like, are there event tickets I need to buy for KnobCon? Or is it just flight and hotel and food and beer and synthesizers? So I was looking at flights from Denver to Chicago, and I think it's only like $160 to fly. And then if I'm out there for 3 nights, that's good. I can do that. I can do that all day. Okay, cool. That's not bad. That's like what I pay to go to the, like 40, $50 for the convention. That's like what I pay to go to all the Comic Cons and we have a show in Denver called Starfest, which is like a big Star Trek like pop culture thing as well, and that's like $40, you know. So that's definitely an affordable trip for me. A lot cheaper than it would be to go to Europe. So I think I can make that happen there soon, Ty Guy, and I think it'd be super cool to meet you in real life. I'd seen a lot of, actually, you know where the first time I had seen you was you were on Sonic State for something a while back. That might have been like a year or two ago, and that was probably the first time I had seen you. And then I saw you in something else randomly on YouTube. So yeah, and then I found out that you're the Super Booth guy, and that's really awesome, man. You do some cool stuff for all the synth nerds out there. Oh, they have a bus. Oh, I have a horror story from the last time I went to Chicago. This was like in 2012. We took the L train. Isn't that what it's called? The L, all over town, and I thought I was gonna get stabbed. So probably I'll take taxis or Ubers or something. I'll probably avoid the public transportation in Chicago the next time. How do I find the new Star Trek? I don't. Is there a new one? There's a new one announced. Actually, I think there's 2 movies that they just announced, so we'll see what happens with that. I don't know. They had the guy that played Chekhov got ran over by his Jeep, which is really sad. So I don't know what they're gonna do about that, because they were saying that they probably won't replace him. I don't think so. Anyway, yeah, the L, man. I love the food in Chicago, but the public transportation is not the safest way to go. And I got a ticket, a violation of some kind. They accused me of smoking in the train in the train house, which I never did. And they stopped me and my friends. Well, we were also trying to sneak our drug friend who couldn't find his pass through the conveyor thing, and yeah, the security guys got mad at us, and then they gave me a ticket. Well, they didn't say that they were giving me a ticket, but they apparently wrote me a ticket, and I go back to Colorado, and I don't know, 3 weeks later I get something in the mail with my name was all spelled wrong and messed up. Maybe they were drunk, with a fine of $500. So oh, yeah. I can't even imagine Detroit's public transportation situation. But, yeah, Chicago for sure was an adventure. We were only there for, I think, 3 or 4 days. We were trying to catch the Rockies play the Cubs at Wrigley Field, and it ended up getting rained out, and so we didn't get to see them. But the pizza is amazing. I think just going back there for pizza is worth the trip. But now I've got KnobCon to go to too, which is even better. Oh, ignored the ticket? No, I'm a dummy and I paid it. Just because I was like, if I go back to Chicago and I get stopped for anything, like, I don't want to have to deal with that mess. So I paid their BS ticket. I think the only other option would have been for me to go down there and say this is crap, but I didn't want to fly all the way back there for a ticket anyway. It wasn't a big deal. I mean, it was shitty, but what can you do? That's why I was like, I'm not doing public transport in Chicago ever again. Yeah, I mean, it's no biggie. You guys have Uber out there, right? Don't you have Uber or Lyft? Or I know there's taxis. I could at least take a taxi. It's not a big deal. I'm not going to be going really anywhere anyway. I'm going to the hotel and be at NobCon, get some videos, and I'll probably just hang out there the whole time for that trip. So it's not like I'll just pretty much like a trip from the airport to the hotel, then from the hotel back to the airport to leave. And that'll probably be all I'll do. But it's almost 2 in the morning for me. And I think I'm going to have to shut down the stream. Yeah, Uber and Lyft. Yeah, that's perfect. So I'll do one of those. I can't imagine. If it's only like 15... What'd you say? Like, it's pretty close, so I'm not worried about it. That's the least of my worries. So, oh, nice. So there's stuff around the hotel too. Cool. That'd be good. But all right, guys, I'm gonna have to pack it in for the night. Thank y'all very much for showing up, and the chat was quite lively today, which is awesome. So I'll be back on next Sunday night. I'm gonna try and do it at my scheduled time. I guess scheduled is a loose term with this thing, but like I want to try and do it by about 10 p.m. so that if I go for about 2 hours, I could be done by midnight. But that doesn't always happen, so I guess sometime next Sunday night I'll be on live again. So anyways. Yep, so thanks Richie, thanks Cal Food, obviously Suit and Tie Guy, you the man. Who else did we have? I don't remember who else we had in here. I apologize if I forgot you. There was the guy from Sweden. Henrik. Did I say that right? Anyway, you guys know who you are. Appreciate you guys stopping by and obviously sitting through the live stream. It's a lot of fun doing these. And you want me to do a playthrough before I go? So I can just play it out. Since I recorded it all. Yeah, so I'll just play back what I captured in here for everyone. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye.